You face the boss of blades.
Hello, Slingers. Today we are going over the list that I am running in Mythic League 8 tournament. We decided to go with Vraska this time around, and our land is, of course, Old Graveyard, adding a random zombie to our hand starting turn 7, which has a high chance of being something that has Finale. This list is a little bit different from what you'd normally see on your average ladder list, and it's mainly here to try and take care of the aggro matchup, which we're expecting a large amount of based on a lot of players that we know will likely compete in this tournament love playing aggro decks. So for our one drop, we of course have our Chandler of Might, who is very often going to be a 3/3 for a single mana. And we have, let's see, 8 different creatures actually in this particular deck that will buff our Chandler of Mights. Very often, if we do draw an opening Chandler of Might, it will be a 3/3 when more than a quarter of our deck is 5 power or greater in this particular list. We, of course, have the other 1-drop Mysterious Cocoon. When it dies, we get a random 1-cost creature, and of course, if it dies during our turn, we will actually get 2. And then we have 2 Vraska's Thrones. Very strong card. We're crazy that it costs only 1 mana. Destroy a creature to draft a creature with Finale and add it to our hand. We have a lot of creatures that will give us advantage by destroying them, along with being a very strong turn 1 play going second with the Mysterious Cocoon to just get 2 1-drops on our first turn. Now, there is no Birds of Paradise in this particular list. We are not a ramp deck. We are sort of like a combo deck that plays aggro to a degree. So this deck is actually made to take care of the next card, Dodge Death, trigger a friendly creature's Finale for 2 mana. There is a large amount of creatures in this deck that have finales that add to the board, or in the case of another card, discarding from our opponent's hand, that you will soon see. The next card we have is Merchant of Death. 2/1 for 2, just draws a card on death. Very simple, keeps card advantage, keeps our cards flowing. Then we, of course, have 2 Infectious Scorpions, adding some removal to doom our opponent's creatures. Then we have an actual removal spell in Grudge Match. Give a creature +1/+1, then choose an enemy creature and they fight. Arguably the strongest removal spell in the game, to be honest. Then we have 2 Vraska's Grubs, 3/2 for 2, which is the nerf version, of course. Finale to get a fragile mana gem, giving us 2 mana gems if it dies during our turn. So the next few cards are actually mainly here to actually take advantage of Dodge Death, but they are very good in the aggro matchup and can help in the control matchup as well in maintaining to the board or maintaining card advantage. We have 2 copies of Hapless Trapper, 2/1 for 3. Finale at the end of the turn, it summons a Hungry Bear being a 3/2 for 2. So if we were to go second and go Hapless Trapper, then use a Dodge Death, we will keep the Hapless Trapper and get 2 3/2 bears on the board as well, which is a lot of creatures on the board for aggro to deal with. And of course, when the Trapper dies, we'll get another bear. Of course, we also could have the Trapper, have Dodge Death, and have Vraska's Throne to give us another creature with Finale to our hand. And also we would get 4 bears in that instance. Then we have Necrotic Ooze, who is a rarely seen card, honestly, in Vraska, but it is a 5/3 for 4. While it is in your hand, it marks a creature in your graveyard each turn, and at Finale, you add a base copy of the marked creature to your hand. So with Necrotic Ooze, a lot of the time, we are going to get something else that has Finale, but we actually get 2 if it dies in our turn. It does buff our Chandler Might because it has 5 power. And it is a 4-drop, which there is quite a lot of 4-drops in this particular deck, making it more like a mid-range kind of list versus specifically an aggro list or specifically a Vraska big heavy list, like big Vraska. Then we, of course, have 2 Shadeborn Steeds, which are 3/4 for 4. He is the discard and the best card probably to target with your Dodge Death, With Finale, you discard a random card from your opponent's hand, and of course, if you triggered it on your own turn, you will choose 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. Very good for taking out quests from your opponent's hand, and of course, just hitting a zone that you rarely get to attack with advantage. We skipped over Krav Unredeemed. He pretty much needs no introduction. He's a 7/7 for 4 with Trampler and just deals 6 damage to another creature or yourself. Oftentimes, we will use it to trigger our Death Rattle. Doing something like a turn 3 Hapless Trapper, turn 4 Krav, puts a lot of stats on the board, and if our opponent didn't want to trigger the Trapper on their own turn, then following up with the Krav, we'll wind up with 2 3/2s and a 7/7 Krav for admittedly no drawback, which is a very powerful board on turn 4. Then we have 2 Gluttonous Goose, 5/5 for 4, but on debut, gets +2/+2 on board if a creature died this turn. That will pretty much happen very consistently. Either we will kill our own creatures or kill our opponent's creatures, or they will block us. And Sugu is very often also just going to be a 7/7 ward for 4, making it a very powerful play. Then we have 2 Turned Stones. Transform an enemy creature into a statue and gain control of it. Staple card for Vraska, very necessary for the Liliana matchup, and arguably because it does give us the 2/2, it's worth the mana over like a Flagrant Foul, which you will actually see absent from this list. Then we have Kothopede, 6/6 for 6 flying, makes a deal. Either we take 4, draw 2 cards, gain 3 mana, or just become a 12/12. Very powerful, game-ending card when played, and extremely strong if we get extra mana from a Vraska Scrub on 2. We can play out a Kothopede as early as turn 3. We can afford to have Death Shadows in the main deck because this is a tournament setting, and very often they will win us the aggro matchup, but if we face a control matchup, we can very easily just side them out. And that is the main deck for our Vraska deck for the tournament. A little bit different kind of list than usual because of the inclusions of Hapless Trapper and Necrotic Ooze to be able to take advantage of Dodge Death more easily, because those 2 are extremely good targets along with our Shadeborn Steed. And that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching, Slingers, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Fool me, so I put my mask on. Keep the 2 of me, gotta keep the 9 high. Flexing Louis V, yeah, keep my cash on. Sticking true to me, I never had a gas off. I'ma pop off, yeah, I said I'll pop off.